Glee. One of the most amazing shows I have seen this entire year. I watched the premiere last year, and I was just like, I cannot wait for this show to be out. I'm going to watch it every single week. And I have been, and I'm addicted, and I can't stop listening to any of the songs. I can't stop watching the episodes on Hulu or Fox. I can't stop downloading the songs on iTunes. I really, really love this show. It's amazing. The writers, they do such an amazing job. I was talking to my friend about this the other day, and basically Glee is just like a musical on TV. That's essentially what it is. They are able to integrate the songs actually really, really well into the storyline, as well as, students start singing them as a performance, and then it kind of gets integrated throughout their day, and it's a really, really amazing show, and I love how the writers are able to now, they've got drama, obviously, on the show, and the show, other than that, is just hilarious. But I want to take a minute and talk about last week's episode. And last week on hairography, they were learning about hairography. And hairography is basically when, you're using your hair and you're making yourself look more fabulous than you actually are by distracting the audience using your hair. As you know, I used to have really, really long hair, and it was down to like my hips, and then I chopped it up to here, and now it's just sort of growing now. So, yeah, hair can be pretty distracting. I know that for a fact because I used to have really long hair. But what ended up happening was that the Glee kids, spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't seen it, so don't keep watching and skip ahead to the song. But essentially the Glee kids thought, hey, this is what we need to do, so they pull a whole hairography move after watching another school do that too. But they performed this in front of a school for the deaf. And for those of you that don't know this, when you're deaf, whether you're born deaf or you eventually lose your hearing, you can't hear yourself speak, obviously, so your voice either becomes almost non-existent, or it sounds very slow, or it just doesn't sound what people would deem as normal. I should know, my dad, back when my dad was alive and he had cancer, he went into septic shock for 2 weeks, and when he woke up, he lost his hearing because of the drugs that they pumped into him. Yay! And so that was in October, and then by April, when my dad had passed away, his voice was completely different from what I had remembered when, he had either A, first lost his hearing, and B, when he was around normally, because of just not being able to hear himself speak anymore. And so in this episode, and I have a point to this, in this episode, the school for the deaf kids, they get up, and they're just standing there, and obviously I'm wondering, how is this show going to portray this? This is going to be a little different. All the students start signing to the song Imagine, while one lead boy spoke it. And so, of course, his voice is a little delayed, but that wasn't the point. The point they were trying to prove, it's not like about the performance, it's all about the song. And for me, the song Imagine, there's no getting around how amazing that song really is. The song in itself, it's so simple, You could have Christina Aguilera or Adam Lambert take that song, and I'm sure they would do an amazing job, but you wouldn't necessarily need their vocal talent or for them to do what they normally do in songs, just go all whoo, for the song to actually be good. You just can sing it straight, and it sounds amazing because it's all about the focus on the words. And I was really touched this week in the episode. I actually cried. Don't make fun of me, please. I cried, but one of the characters, Mercedes, when he goes on to the second verse, she just sits there and she starts singing it straight. And usually she's also one to go, whoo! Sorry, I don't know why. I'm just like really fidgety or itchy, sorry. But she just starts sitting there and she's singing it, and she eventually gets up and she joins him, and the fellow Glee members, they get up and join as well. And they're all standing there and they're all singing while the other students are signing, and they're eventually joining in the signing. And it was just a beautiful moment and a beautiful song, and it was wonderfully done. And it, of course, made me miss singing that song because we sang it back in high school. But again, the song, it's not about who sings it, how it's sung. It's all about the words and the meaning that John Lennon put into it. It's just, could you really imagine what this world would be like without all that stuff? And not that it's bad stuff, but, you know, I think Faith is amazing. But, you know, side note. But yeah, so I want to perform Imagine today. I'm a little under the weather, so my voice is not up to par. My throat actually kind of hurts. So you shouldn't be singing when you're sick. But I really want to make this video, and again, it's not, and I'll eventually post a video of me singing Imagine when I'm actually better, but I wanted to just do it this way because it's the focus on the words and not on how it's done. So, enjoy, please. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Thank you, everybody.